Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking about the book called The English Patient. So this book has won 2 awards. First one is the Booker Prize Award and the second one is the Governor General's Award. And it was written by Michael Donje. He was born on September 12, 1943 in Sri Lanka, but later on he moved to Canada and he attended the University of Toronto and Queen's University. And his full name is actually Philip Michael Donje. So moving on, I'm going to be providing you with a brief explanation about what the book consists of. So this book takes us way back to the final moments of World War II. And it's just about 4 people communicating and flashbacking to their memories. And war has brought these 4 people together. They live in an abandoned house where they just live. Yeah. Okay, so the first person is Hannah, who is a nurse, and she takes care of she's dedicated her whole life to taking care of this English patient. And the English patient was burnt in a plane crash during the wartime. And then the third character is Caravaggio. His fingers were cut off by Germans because, according to the Germans, he was doing some bad stuff. And then the fourth character is Kip, and he's an Indian soldier and also a magnificent bomb diffuser. And then he just, the British Empire hired him because he was so excellent at bomb diffusing. And also I forgot to mention that the English patient's name is actually Almazy. And the story of Almazy is that he was a part of a group who was searching for a Zerzura. I don't know what that is, but yeah, a Zerzura in the desert. And a member of that group, whose name was Jeffrey, brought his wife along, Catherine. And the Almazy and Catherine, they started developing feelings for each other, and eventually they fell in love, and they started meeting in private places, and they did a lot of romantic things, let's just put it that way. And then after that, eventually Jeffrey finds out about this, and he plans a plane crash for them. Then in the plane there's Catherine, Almazy, and Jeffrey himself. 3 of them are sitting in the plane, and then the plane crashes. Surprisingly, the English patient's absolutely fine, and Jeffrey, he's dead. Catherine's actually severely wounded. Then after this, Almazy carries Catherine to the river. He leaves her there, but he promises her to come back. And then after 3 years, he comes back. He takes Catherine into the plane, and then he places her in the plane. And then when he's flying it, oil spills all over him, and the plane gets on fire. And that's the story how he was burnt. So the first theme that I think is very important would be identity, because it comes in role with every character, most of the characters. So starting off with Almazy. So Almazy was the type of guy who always wanted to ignore the idea of nationality and how people are judged based on their races. And when living in the desert, introduces him to a whole new world, a world, it revolves around freedom, and he basically gains a new identity. But when he's living in the desert, he doesn't really feel the need of anyone anymore. And then but after falling in love with Catherine, he feels that as if he really needs her and he can't live without her. So you see all these transformations throughout the book, and yeah, pretty much. Which it really connects to his identity. So, moving on, Hannah, she doesn't really talk about her past herself, but Caravaggio talks about her past because they used to be family friends when they were. Caravaggio is actually old, and she used to be small then, and they used to be family friends. So Caravaggio tells her to stop taking care of this English patient and tells her that she's wasting her life doing this and all that, but she still refuses to go back. And Caravaggio also talks about how she used to be so outgoing and fun, and now she's just determined her whole life to taking care of this one boring patient that doesn't even talk to her properly. And basically, and you see Hannah has gained a new identity from seeing all the war. Kip, as an Indian, he wasn't very recognized in his society, and after getting this job in a British Empire, he was very recognized. Like his position gained him a lot of attention, and he wasn't used to this. He was used to being ignored, and it was a new thing for him, and which gave him a new identity. Also, in the book later on, Hannah and him develop a lust relationship, and he starts getting close to her and tells her about his past. And we never, in the book, it never, Kip is never seen as a man who really needs someone, or he shares his stories with someone. And you see Hannah and Kip develop a relationship. Second theme of this book would be love and tragedy, and I put this love and tragedy together because I think that where there is love, there is something tragic going to happen. Love can lead you to do such spiteful things that lead you to a sinful life. So love and tragedy come in well with the book when, first of all, Hannah, she is in love with the English patient, but and she's basically not living her life. She just cares for him and takes care of him, and she's basically she's determined her whole life to taking care of this patient, and she's not living her own life. And later on, she falls in love with Kip when he enters the novel, and it comes in role with love and tragedy also come in role with the book when Almazy falls in love with Catherine when he sees her for the first time, obviously, and he's very mesmerized by her personality, and after they fall in love, as I said before, they meet at private places. They start sneaking, but Catherine starts sneaking behind her husband's back, and it's just leading to tragic things. For example, what did falling in love get them to? Catherine's death, her husband's death, and Almazy, look at him, he's all burnt now. He has no body, basically. Now I'm going to be discussing about some literary devices that I've found, and the first one is that said by Almazy, aka the English patient: the heart is an organ of fire. So here, Almazy is comparing the human heart to something very dangerous and something that you have to be cautious of. And I think that because of what he's been through and all of his past experience, his love story, and makes him think that the heart is an organ of fire, and the fire represents something very destructive in this sentence. And the second metaphor that I have found is, the first one was a metaphor, by the way, second one is, this is said by the nurse, I'm not so in love with him, I'm in love with Ghost, and so is he. So here, she refers to the English patient as a ghost, and because he's lost his physical self because he was burnt, and he's also lost his emotional self because his love of his life is not with him. She's dead now, and this kind of gives him a ghost kind of figure, and she's basically just comparing him to Ghost and how she's in love with him. So irony takes place in the play when a plane crash occurs because Jeffrey, who is Catherine's husband, wasn't supposed to get killed. He was supposed to kill Catherine and the English patient because he knew of their affair and he wanted revenge. And yeah, and also I would consider flashback one of the literary devices because the whole story basically consists of flashbacks, as I mentioned before. And I'm just gonna read you one piece of when the English patient was flashbacking to his love story. And I approached her naked as I would have done in our South care room, wanting to address her, still wanting to love her. What is terrible in what I did? Don't we forgive everything of a lover? So he was just telling Hannah about his love story, and yeah. To end this off, I've picked a visual object that would represent the book, and it is this heart. It's kind of cheesy, but it's the best thing that I could find that would represent this book. And this heart is an absolute idea of love, basically, and love is greatly embedded into this book. And also taking notice that the heart's color is red. So just stop, man. Stop. Don't disturb me. Okay. Yeah, where was I? The heart's color is red. And red can also represent maliciousness as well as love. But it can represent evil because it's the color of blood. And all of this connects to the theme of tragedy because the heart just shows that where there is love there is tragedy, because the heart represents love and then the color represents tragedy. And this is like the main theme of the book, because Almazi and Catherine falling in love basically led them to death, which is love and tragedy. The theme of love and tragedy is the whole book. And to end this off, I would like to recommend this book to the devotees of romance,